Hey, it's Hunt. You found Hunt on Saints. We're talking black and gold football. Do us a favor. Hit the like button, share your comments below, and hit that subscription button so you can get all of our content. Enjoy. Let's talk some Saints. They just wrapped up mandatory minicamp. Sean Fazende covers the black and gold for Fox 8. He was there for all of it. And joins us now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Sean, thanks for the time. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing quite well. What was your reaction to Alvin Kamara's departure yesterday?
Yeah, I was kind of out of left field. It was an extension or a contract dispute that really none of us saw coming, just because generally with a higher profile player like that, you would have thought something would have leaked at some point. As you look at some of the higher profile contract issues around the league right now with minicamp going on, and then sort of he wasn't here for OTAs, and he shows up for minicamp and had a really good practice on Wednesday, and then all of a sudden, he exits the building and in the parking lot where we're all parked and where we're all kind of set up to go out there for the for practice on Thursday. So to see him kind of exit, get in the car, and then leave right in front of us was certainly something to certainly was an interesting scene play out. And then now the Saints go into an off season with one of their star players not happy with his contract, and it obviously puts the Saints in a delicate situation. And Alvin Kamara is obviously trying to exercise whatever leverage he has left, because he's turned 29 years old and looking to secure one final payday or one bit of financial security. So this is an issue that I think kind of caught a few people off guard, but it's one we'll be paying a lot of attention to over the next couple of weeks and months.
To the best of your understanding, was this just kind of a show by Kamara and his team, or was there some sort of dispute yesterday that kind of boiled over and he said, all right, then I'm out of here?
Yeah, that's a great question. Because he was available at walkthrough, because everyone saw him at walkthrough and in the team meeting earlier, certainly felt like he had the plan to go out and practice at some point. At some point between that walkthrough and the actual start of practice, he re-entered the building, had some kind of discussion apparently, or some kind of when he got inside the building, what actually happened there is anyone's guess or is unknown at this point. And then obviously he leaves, and pretty calculated move, I guess you could say, on his part. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not really sure if it's more of a kind of a move by Kamara, or it's something that really frustrated him within some kind of conversation. But I do know he's a guy that wants an extension or some kind of guaranteed money going forward. And as of now, he doesn't have it, and we'll see how the Saints react at some point.
Yeah, I guess that's the next question. I mean, do you expect a holdout here if nothing happens in training camp?
I could see that happening if it gets to that point, just in terms of where they currently stand and the negotiations and what he's looking for, and did the Christian McCaffrey recent extension play any role in this, because he just signed that 2-year $38 million extension with the 49ers, and he's the one obviously Kamara has been most compared to throughout his career, although I'll honestly say over the last couple of seasons McCaffrey has certainly had better seasons than Kamara. So yeah, I could certainly see that leaking into the into training camp once we go out west to California, if they aren't able to settle in on a number. He held out for about 4 or 5 practices back in 2020 when they were working out the contract he's currently under. And it should be pointed out he's still under contract for 2025, but it's one of those contracts where when he signed the deal back in 2020, it was listed as a 5-year, $75 million contract, but it was really 4 years, $50 million. That final year had a $25 million base salary that was unguaranteed. It was always designed to get renegotiated at some point. So we'll see. And I know Mickey Loomis can be a painfully patient negotiator. I'm not sure how he's going to react to this sort of scene here where, I can't tell you the last time that's ever happened, if at all. A player walking out of the building like that over a contract right before practice, and we were all there to kind of see it. But we'll see how they react. And then, generally speaking, he takes his time with this negotiation, and they settle in at market value. It's just a matter of what that market value truly is for a guy like Kamara, who, like I said, is going to be 29 years old next month.
Would you pay Alvin Kamara $8 to $10 million in his 29, 30, 31 seasons?
8 to 10 million?
Yeah.
Maybe. Maybe for next year. I don't know if I would guarantee it, how much I would guarantee of that, just because of where he's at in his career and his age. I do know there's a little bit of an excitement of a potential kind of reinvigorating his career a little bit with this new system and Klint Kubiak and featuring him in different ways. I wouldn't go past the age of 30 with him. Anything past that to me would not be a smart business move. if you're the Saints. So it really boils down to what do they want to do in 2025. 2024 is obviously one thing, but 2025 do they feel that he's past his prime and too old, or is that a year? Is that a year where they can give him more guaranteed money? That's a very delicate situation. That's a very delicate balance, and I'll be very curious to see how the Saints play it out. I don't know. Depending on their cap situation, and generally, they've been caught over these last couple of years holding on to players a little bit past their prime. I'd be very careful to give a lot more guaranteed money past next season.
Would this be an easier decision to make if you had seen any of Kendre Miller last year? I mean, what do we know about him?
Yeah, possibly. I know they're excited about him. I think they like his skill set within the offense. Yeah, I think it certainly could be, because right now behind Alvin Kamara, you have a bunch of unknowns. You have Jamal Williams didn't do anything last year, although he seems to be happy about the new system, but we'll see. Kendre Miller is a guy they drafted to be, someone that can come in and be a guy that can, carry the football for him significantly and take some of the load off of Alvin Kamara. Didn't see that. So I certainly think that's part of the play when it comes to Alvin Kamara and exercising that leverage. Is who else do you have that you can legitimately count on? And I think that is a question mark. So, yeah, that's why it puts him in a really precarious situation.
Sean Fazende's our guest, Fox 8 down in New Orleans, talking Saints minicamp as they wrap things up yesterday. We won't see them on the field again until training camp. The new system's kind of been all the rage and all everybody's talking about, and saw some positive reviews from Derek Carr, even though we know it's just minicamp. What was your impression of just kind of watching the offense from what you could see?
Totally different. I've been watching the same offense for a long time. And, you kind of expect certain things when you look at the way they even do warm-ups and drills before they actually get to work. It just looks totally different. Just even from the routes on air that they practice, it's totally different. A lot more zone scheme, wide zone scheme, a lot more bootleg, stretch boot action, a lot more of everything looks the same, but you can do a lot of different plays out of the same formation. And it seems to have connected with Derek Carr, at least initially, because I think you can certainly make a case for the practices that we were able to witness. I think Derek Carr has been the best player on the field for the Saints, most consistent player over a six practice stretch. Everyone understands it's June, and even Derek understands it's June. He was pretty open about that yesterday. But at this stage of the game, he looks pretty comfortable within the system, and it's still a long way to go. They haven't even put the pads on, and I'm still not sure where that offensive line's headed in terms of if the right five guys are in place right now. But at least initially, it looks like the starting quarterback has picked up on the terminology and the execution fairly well.
As you mentioned, no pads, so it's impossible to evaluate linemen at all. So I just asked you kind of about rep count. Any reps at all for Fuanga on the right side? Any reps at all for Penning on the left side? Or have they anchored those two guys down for the time being?
It's been all right for Trevor Penning. It's been all left for Taliese Fuaga, and they've remained that way for the entirety of the offseason. And we'll see if it remains that way once the pads come on into training camp, because that's obviously something that has to come together quickly. But the Saints, for this offense, this new look offense that everyone's excited about, means nothing if the offensive line doesn't come together.
Last thing here, tight end, obviously a huge part of the San Francisco offense that we've seen the last couple of years, the Klint Kubiak out there. The Saints have a unique skill set at tight end with Hill and Jwan Johnson and Foster Moreau. How big a deal is the injury there?
I think it is a big deal, and especially since there seems to be sort of kind of a vagueness around what actually happened. Because if you kind of listen to Dennis Allen, he says it didn't necessarily happen, during a practice. He said it's just been bothering him for quite some time. So to kind of get to this point and now have surgery to now where you're not going to be available potentially till the start of the regular season, I think that's certainly a blow to the development and just sort of the installation of this offense. And you look at this offense, there's a lot of two tight end sets. There's a lot of 21, a lot of 12, a lot of 22 personnel within this offense. And the way they operate with the bootleg, that tight end drag across the middle, is a very effective play within this offense. It's one of the bread and butter type plays. So I do think it's significant. I'm very curious to see if they look the veteran route for a tight end. I know that market's pretty slim right now, but there are some young guys that they like that have certainly had a couple of good practices within this offseason, and maybe they go that route for the time being. But I know that position is way too important to this offense in particular to just ignore. So we'll see what happens there, but I do think it's a significant injury for Jwan Johnson.
Sean, thanks so much for your time. Have a great weekend, man.
All right, bud. Appreciate it.
Sean Fazende, Fox 8 down in New Orleans covering the black and gold. Hey, it's Hunt. Thanks for watching Hunt on Saints. Before you leave, help us out a little bit. Hit that like button, leave your comments in the section below, and hit that subscribe button so you get all our content right here from Hunt on Saints. We'll see you next time.